Welcome back, Commanders. I'm going to make a series of videos, some tutorials, and just some general information for players that are 1 day in to players that are 100 days in. And these are just some of my observations and some shortcuts or some suggestions that could make this game a lot more fun, especially for players who may not be wanting to spend as much as other players. There's absolutely still a role for you in this game. So what I'm going to do is, this is my first account that I had. It's on 1033. It's a Korean server. I did not know it was a Korean server. When I started the game, it just put me into a server, and here I was. I didn't realize you couldn't move around or transfer servers, so once I had invested in it, I just didn't leave. One of the things that is or has been absolutely incredible in this is that these are the nicest people I have ever been around. But when you are trying to work, strategize, or do anything else, everything is in another language. And so you are constantly hitting all of the translations, and it gets really, really difficult. But again, incredible people are on 1033. And if you ever just want to have an incredibly friendly Korean population, that's a good place to be. But because of that, I did not learn very much when I started, and had to figure out a lot by trial and error, because the translator was not always perfect. And so when I would ask a question, I would not always get the right answer, and had to find out a few things the hard way. So let me get to this. Number one. The train is number one. The train is RNG. My feelings were hurt for about the first month to 2 months of playing this game, because I thought I never was chosen for the train, even though I gave them all of my tickets. Your seat is chosen, or you are chosen to ride the train, absolutely by chance. There's nothing you can do about it. So whether you go for the seat that has 6 people in it, or the seat that has 13 and you've given no tickets, you still have the same chances as anybody else to get on the train. So do not feel like you are being ignored because of the train. Number one, the first thing you have to realize about this game is that this game is a pay-to-win game. That means no matter how smart you are, no matter how many games you've played in the past where your skill has carried you, you could be playing the worst player in the world. And if they can outspend you, they will eventually beat you. That is just the cruel fact and nature of this game, is that you will be beaten by people that can pay more money than you. Now, does that mean that this game cannot be fun if you do not pay money, or if you do not pay as much as other people? No, this game can absolutely still be a ton of fun, but you have to accept that first. All right. And just realize that if you are not spending, this game will be harder, and it will be much, much slower than other people experiencing this game. And if you're okay with that, you're going to have a great time. Number two, the second thing you need to realize about this is that this game is a resource gathering game. That is the base and essential of it. The more resources you have, the more things you can build, the faster they will build, the faster the game will go, and the better your experience will be. So if you are somebody who is not spending a ton of money, or any money at all, you need to be able to get resources and have resources available to you to build your character, and that way you can have the most fun with this game. Because if you are running out of gold and iron and food and you are not paying any money to make things go faster, you will have days, if not weeks, that you will sit here with nothing to do, and your soldiers will be weak. You won't be able to pitch in for your alliance, and it will be a much, much, much harder game to want to come back to. So please keep in mind, if you are a lower spender or free to play, you need to treat this as a resource gathering game first. That will benefit you the most, and that will also give you a really incredible role within your alliance that will make you valuable. Number 3, how do you become the most valuable player to your alliance? That is going to be through verses. The more points that you can get into verses with each day, the more that you will benefit your alliance. Now, there are certain ways that you can do this. Again, you can do this as a free-to-play player, or you can do this as somebody who pays money. Either way, you can still maximize your efforts to assist your alliance in winning each day of the duel. The first thing that you should look at and really consider is that when you are looking into your tech tree, if you are a free-to-play player, or if you are somebody who does not spend much money, then you need to be able to, or be looking toward, building up your Alliance Duel tree first. Now, Alliance Duel does take Valor badges, and these can be gained through various dailies. It can be gained through Desert Storm. It can be gained through the Winter Storm. It can be gained in Ally Server wars and other wars. There are a number of ways to come across Valor points. But what you want to do is you want to put as many points into verses as quickly as possible. And the reason is it will build up your points in the verses so much faster, which will help your alliance, but it'll also help you gain more of the tier rewards in the alliance duel. So you'll get more of the boxes and you'll get them faster. And these boxes do end up being very valuable, especially again, if you are not paying money, if you're not looking to do this. This is what you'll want to do as quickly as possible, is get into this tech tree and get the versus duels done down as far as possible. Because once you get up into those 7 and 9 tier rewards, you can reach those as a free-to-play player, but you're going to have to be much more strategically aligned to be able to do that. So please, again, to maximize your availability or maximize your value to your alliance, you need to be great at gathering resources, and you need to be even better at getting versus points. One of the biggest ways to do that right off the bat is going into this tech tree and jumping into Alliance Duel. The second thing, as I told you with this in the same point, is when I tell you it's a resource gathering game, the other way to gather resources is through the inner city truck. Okay, anything through the trucking and shipping, those are some of the biggest and best rewards that you get. Now, again, I built this character with that in mind. This is what I was asked to do to help my alliance the most. Is they asked me, how much money are you comfortable in spending each week? I gave them an amount, and they said, hey, then we need you to be a resource gatherer. We need you to make sure that you can make at least 5 million points a day. And we need you to make sure that if you ever need to level things, if you ever need to bring things in, that you are not going to be at a loss. And the reason being is that as long as I could keep putting soldiers out, as long as I could have even a decent team, there were big whales, or not whales, but there were some bigger players on the alliance that could protect us. I just had to be doing my part to make sure that I was getting our alliance points and our versus points each day. So again, if you are not somebody that can spend money to build up a warrior defense or build up a really, really strong army, then get in here and get your alliance points, get your tech trees built, get your verses done, and get these things down as far and as quickly as possible. It's going to be the biggest benefit to your alliance, and they will absolutely love you for it. The next thing, the value of day one versus is absolutely essential. Okay, it is only 1 point, but that 1 point can either really bolster a group or it can absolutely crush them. This is when everybody gets in there and throws in as early and as quickly as possible. Now, some alliances will wait until the very end and then throw in their points, but this is an essential win, is that day one. But now, some of the biggest mistakes that are made in day one is only due to lack of planning. So again, if you are a free-to-play player or you are somebody that does not put in as much money, you can crush day one with just a little bit of planning. And if you're willing to spend just a little bit of money, maybe $5 or $10 each week, then this is with the day that you do it. Okay, this is just absolutely where you can make the biggest difference in your game. Now, one of the things that needs to be done, or that you need to think about doing, actually not even think about, you need to do it, is before the reset going into the start of your verses, you need to have all 3, if not 4, of your squads out there gathering. I would suggest putting all 4 out there to gather before the reset. So that means that you're going to go out and you're going to look for a tile. So if I come out here and I say, hey, you know what? I am going to go and look for gold, level 10, whatever the highest is that you can get is what you want to do. All right. So that's going to tell me that I'm going to get 302,000 gold if I mine this thing out. And when I click on it, it's going to let me know that if I am heading out there to get that, it's going to have a gather time of 9 hours and 23 minutes. So I really need to figure out or send these guys out about 9 hours before the reset. And the reason for that is that what you get is you get your points for that times 302,000 for absolutely free. Now, it doesn't matter if your time goes over, because even if you send them out, so let's say I do send these guys out and I'm going to march them out. If your reset happens and they're out there, all you have to do is just hit the return, okay, have them return, and you will get the credit for everything that they had gathered up to that point. So let's say that they've only gathered 300,000 out of the 400,000. Great. Still have them return at the reset because you need them, and you will get the 300,000 in resources, and that will allow you to then get those points absolutely right off the bat. I'll do a quick little point analysis for you here in just a second so that you can see what that looks like. But let's say, you know, they've gathered up a ton, the resets hit. All I need to do is just hit that return to base, and I will still get credit for everything that they have collected and gain the points from that. All right. So gathering and having that prepared is absolutely essential to success as a lower spending or free to play player to assist your team or assist your alliance in versus. So having all 4 of those guys out, whether it be whether it be collecting wheat, anything else, it doesn't matter what you're collecting, food, you just want them out there. Each team will have a different amount of time it takes them. So as I'm looking at this team right here, if I send these guys out, it's going to take them 8 hours, 51 minutes to complete it. If I send these guys out, 9 hours, 38 minutes. These guys are 10 hours. And that's just based off of your gathering speed in your garage. All right. And what they can do. These guys are 851. So you want to line all of these up, have them go out before the reset of day one. And that will be a huge, huge deal. The other thing you want to pre-plan or pre-prep before day one is radar training. Now with radar training, these are huge. These are 25,000 a piece. With radar, depending upon your level, you can hold up to 40 extra radars up here and still have 10 out here. So a total of 50 radars available to you if you are not collecting the radars before the reset. So what I usually do is 24 hours or so before the reset, I just stop collecting my radars. Now you can complete them. If I hit the quick perform, my guys go out, they come back, complete them all you want. You have that little red dot up there, but do not turn them in. You want to build this up to 40 because, as a quick example, if this was 40 plus I had the 10 out, I have a total of 50. And because my versus is, because I showed you with that tech tree that my versus for the radar is at 50%, then that is 50 times 25,000. And so if you do the math on that, that's 2.5 million in just radar tasks. Sorry, 1.25 million in just radar tasks. So before I do anything, as soon as that reset button hits and I collect all of my radars, I am already depositing 1.25 million into my alliance, and I've had to do nothing. It hasn't cost me anything, hasn't done anything. And that's because I maxed out my tree. I'm of higher level and I am good to go. Okay. So before you're prepping, please, please, please get your guys out there gathering the food and get your guys out there and ready to hoard or absolutely keep all of your radars intact. I'll have a little math analysis thing right up here. At this time, I'll just pause it. Staying with the day one and with the points gathering, if there's anything that I could beg of people and alliances, is again, if you're not comfortable with spending $5 or $10 a week in this, then you can still have fun, but it's also really difficult as you're trying to rally people or get them to go. And I'm going to stick with day one real fast with versus, because this is something that I've witnessed a few times, and you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings in doing this, but you should also realize where the advantages and disadvantages are in winning day one and how valuable it is to you. So even if you are free to play or if you are a very, very low spender, if you could just come up with $10 a week, even $5 a week, it would be a huge, huge difference. And this is why. A couple of times I've seen this. We will get really close on day one and somebody will scream out that we need to do rallies. Let's everybody get in there and do rallies. Let's just keep rallying everybody in and rally, rally, rally. And they will spend all of their stamina in rallies. Maybe a rally is 20 stamina each. Okay. You spend 100 of them. With that, you end up, and let's say, sorry, if you spend 100 stamina, that is 30,000 points that you gain. Okay. 100 stamina is 30,000 points. That is the equivalent of 5 rallies. If you spent $5 and bought 1 pack of radar tasks, that would come to 250,000 points for $5, rather than spending all of this time, money, and effort with your stamina. Because what will eventually happen, and this happened just a couple of weeks ago, is our entire alliance spent all of their stamina to win day one, and then the very next event was the invading zombie. And the invading zombie event is the greatest event to get resources, to get prizes, to get extra power-ups. And if you don't have stamina to go out there and kill the zombies, you're throwing opportunity away. So please, if you end up on day one and you are scrambling to win by just doing rallies, try to find a way to save your stamina. Your stamina is so much more valuable than just putting $5 in to do a radar task, to buy a radar task pack. Because if you go and look under stamina, I think it's still 10 stamina for $10. So that's, yeah, it's just not even close. So if I could encourage you for anything, just if you're ever going to spend money for the week, just put the $5 or $10 in today and get those radar tasks, save your stamina, because there are so many events that are going to come up with like the invading zombies that you need to have that stamina there, and it's going to be worth so much more to you. Another thing to know and keep in mind, the train is RNG in deciding who gets to go on it or not. For about 2 months on this server, they could not clearly communicate that to me. I thought that they hated me. I had asked them a few times why I wasn't chosen, and they just said I wasn't lucky enough. I took that as more of an insult, but they were really trying to tell me that RNG is what decides who is on the train. It doesn't matter how many tickets you give. It doesn't matter which seat you pick. None of that matters. When this train rolls out, the game just decides whether you're in or out. There's nothing you can do to enhance your favor to get on there. So train is RNG. Nobody hates you. It is just the way that the game is built. Secret squads, secret missions, all these things are incredibly valuable. It is worth putting the refreshes in to try and get them up to gold. If you don't have it, obviously there's nothing you can do about it. The ally tasks to keep in mind too, many times these come up. These come up just at the very end of when somebody starts. So I usually, if I'm actually really lucky this time, I will usually wait if there is a list like this. It'll say like 9 minutes, 11 seconds. I'll go do something else. I'll put a timer on. They'll just remind me to come back in 9 minutes. And then I will wait up here and just make sure I start clicking these things as fast as I can. While they don't seem like that they are a lot coming back to you, when you do open up your inventory and you do get to jump into these mystery supply boxes, it is very, very, very rare. But you can get universal shards, and sometimes you can get the 5,000 diamonds. I mean, crazy rare that it happens. But it still is nice to get some decoration boxes, the trade contracts to improve those things going out. So those extra 15, 20, 30 boxes are incredibly valuable. So just keep that in mind as you are watching those secret resource or secret tasks going on. The other thing to keep in mind as you're doing this, and this is something that we do in the 1033, is that if we're doing okay, if we're some of the higher levels, or even if we're like some of the mid levels, what we'll do is if anybody needs to trade, we will trade without question. There's no reason not to trade. So even if I have 10 M1s and I only have one M13, I will still trade it if somebody needs my M1 for that M13, with the idea that if that's a lower player and they're able to start digging for treasure much earlier or more often, it just causes synergy that they will start getting stronger faster. We're already doing okay. So help out your lower level players, even if it means you don't get to dig one time. Eventually what will happen is you'll look and have a similar map to I have, where I could dig 7 times now, and you can just get it all done in one time, knock these out, and you're totally fine. So if somebody does have or needs a piece, please help them. Just get them in there, because a gold chest for them might be what pushes them over to have a way better time. Number one, it makes them feel good that you're helping them. Maybe they just needed 10 more divas to get up to 3-star or 4-star. So it's a good deal. It's something to just help out your allies with, is to always be trading. Okay. Always be up there, always be looking to trade. Even if you are low on the pieces, still please give up those pieces. It makes a big difference. Okay, if this game offers you something to do, do it, because they will usually reward you for doing it. So if you can get into arenas, even if you do not have a good team or anything up and ready, just do, I think it's 5 for this one. Let me just check real quick. I'm pretty sure it's 5. So I'll just do 5 real fast. So if you go in here, you don't even need to check your team. You don't need to check anything that's going on. Just hit the fight. Once it hits the first attack, go ahead and just hit out. So I'm going to do this 5 times as fast as I can. And the reason being is that it will give you free items. It'll mail them to you just if you participate in things like the arena, or if you participate in hitting the world boss. Just get in there. Whether you win or not, doesn't matter. They are just looking for tries. So do everything, whether it be the arenas, whether it be being a substitute in Desert Storm. So like even if you don't have something going on. So I just did 3 of them. I hit my mail. I go to event. Here's my 3x3 brawls. All right. It's giving me honor. It's giving me valor. It's giving me trunks. It's giving me chests. It's giving me diamonds. So that's me doing 3 of them. So let's just knock out 2 more real fast. Get in there. Challenge. It's going to pop up with something. And I'm going to hit fight. And again, I don't care if I win or lose on this one. I'm just getting through. That's in my number 4. And here's my number 5. Challenge. Fight. Once it hits the first one, I can just back out. And I jump over here. I head back to my mail. And I should have my last container waiting for me under event. There it is, my 3x3 brawl. So that, just by doing that, gave me 1,000 in the honor points. I think it gave me 400 or so in the diamonds, 150 in valor. And then these trunks are always fun to open because they do have the opportunity of giving you 10,000 diamonds or 1,000 valor badges. Again, crazy rare, but it is a possibility. So these are always fun to open, and they give them to you for free. Same thing if you go to the Desert Storm. Just sign up. Just be a substitute, because participants will still get... They will still get the rewards. Where the heck are the rewards? They'll still get the rewards. And if you are in there and you're like looking to do well for yourself, if you score 200,000 points on your own, just from killing or doing whatever, man, you score a ton of extra benefits, of extra resources, of extra anything. There is rarely does it ever happen that all 20 people actually show up. Most of the time it's about 12. So just jump in there as a substitute, sign up as a substitute, jump in, try to help out your team. You're going to run out of army guys and everything else, but still just get in there. Get in there, participate, get your rewards. And if you guys win, you're stoked. And if you lose, you lose. But you'll pick up honor points. You'll get those opportunities coming to you, and you'll do that. All right, so just jump in there. Again, with the events, always make sure that you are doing your daily wanted. All right, your daily wanted, if you do it 3 times, will give you all these rewards. It doesn't matter how hard you hit them. Just get in there and do them 3 times. Those are waiting for you. Oh, I am apparently being attacked. Let's go see what's happening here. Oh, it's a big old meanie. Not a problem. Okay, keep in mind, this game is really funny about the way it works. If you are free to play, or again, a lower spending, you can still be absolutely effective. You just have to be patient. You will not be able to run through things like everybody else. But if you pace yourself and you are disciplined, you will still be a very, very powerful force in this game and can be a benefit to your team. What you'll have to do is just realize you are only a tank team. If you can get a tank team up, you will still have a great time in this game. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to panic and you're going to say, oh, but air is coming out. There's nothing I can do with air. Air is going to beat me. Yes, air will beat you every time. That's all there is to it. And those are the people that spend medium money to higher money. They'll have a really, really nice air team. And that air team will crush you every time. But then what's going to happen is when day 90, I think it's 2 or 97. Let me look it up real quick. There it is, day 99. When day 99 rolls around and Lion comes out, that is when the whales and the big spenders have a full 5s missile team. And that air team will now get dunked by whales and by people who are big spenders that want to hurt the air teams. Now, what's funny about that is if you look into how teams work or the bonuses that they get, if I go into my tank team, I have 5 tanks here. If I hit this troop counter, tanks receive 20% damage. Tanks receive minus 20% damage from missile vehicles. Missile vehicles receive 20% damage, less damage from Missile vehicles receive 20% less damage from aircrafts. Aircrafts receive 20% less damage from tanks. So that means that if you are air, you will dunk tanks. Okay, but if you're missiles, you will dunk air. So those big whales are going to come after those medium spenders and dunk them. Now, what's funny is that if all you have been doing is focusing on your tanks, you will actually have a chance against the whales. Okay, because a lot of these airs are going to start running away because the missiles are coming in. And the missiles are going to have to worry about the tanks. So this is the way that the game gives you an opportunity to still be really valuable. Even again, if you are a low to free spender, just focus on the best tank group that you can get. Because if you can have a really good 5s in tanks, you still get to participate in everything that's going on. Just don't worry about getting any of the missiles. Don't worry about the air. It'll save you money. It'll save you grief. You have a really fun time because you have a really strong 5 tank team and you can go in and still wreck people. And yes, you are going to suffer about 30 to 35 days of air just absolutely annihilating you. But then missile is going to come back and the people who spend a lot of money are going to get that and they're going to chase down the air and you will be fine because now you're going to start fighting missiles. And since you've had your tanks that you've been working on for 100 days and they've had missiles that they've been working on for 1 to 6, it evens out. Okay. So if you're free to play, lower play, just stay tanks. Don't worry about anything else. If you plan this out ahead, this can be one of your best friends right here. This little star makes me so happy every time I see him. Anytime you jump into the honorable campaign, if you plan this out correctly, and again, you are patient and you are free to play or lower pay, or even if you are paying, you can absolutely maximize honorable campaign. And the way you do this is a lot of times you'll want to just skip ahead and you'll get in there and you're going to hit your start. You're going to jump in, you're going to hit auto battle just because you want to finish it. And while it's going through and you're watching these flags all get done, you're like, yeah, this is great. You're like, hey, I'm going to get all the way through. You might barely make it through 20, which means that you're going to have to go to the next level and you can only make it 2 or 3. What I would tell you to do is in things like this with the challenge interrupted, go ahead and if you want to try to keep going, do not hit auto battle again. You can hit challenge, but then stop at 19. And the reason being is if you stop right here, by the time that you come back in 2 days or 3 days or whenever the next challenge is, your missiles or your team should be strong enough to be able to complete this whole thing. And then you're going to be able to start a second map. On that second map, what I would then advise you to do is not hit auto battle. Just hit challenge and try to take it to 19 or 20 and then stop. The reason being is that means that for this reset or redo, you were able to get 2 maps worth of items. If you went all the way through, then that means when you come back, you more than likely will not be strong enough to make it through even 1 map all the way through, because it's going to be too strong. So what this allows you to do is every time you come back, you have a chance to reap all of the benefits from 2 maps. I'm going to have to do a better job on how to explain that.